problem-free life, but astrology is something else. And I think the world is, at this point, is having a pathological situation where there is inequality, there is problems in the pollution, the ozone layer is, diminishing. We are having so many problems, and people are having arguments and wars in some parts of the world. The world in which I live in is very close to that part. The Middle East is having a lot of crisis. So the living situation there was horrible, and the other day we were talking with John and friends and saying that maybe we are the 1% who are lucky because we are not in that living situation. So it's actually connected with other things. We know that when we think about our friend, when we think about him or her, and then there's an email from him or a call from her. So I don't think it's an illusion. But the thing is, scientific approaches sometimes, the dogmatic thinking, wants us to prove it more and more. So what this means is that we need more research to prove that oneness is existing. Because science is evidencing the presence of oneness, especially quantum physics. It starts with many findings regarding oneness. The stars, the universe, all are connected with each other. So what does oneness mean? When we go into the concept, actually we can say that it's the term of the 21st century. It wasn't talked about in the 20th century as much, so we see some research or some kind of philosophical writings in oneness of the 21st century. From a scientific view, it's associated with an interconnected, evolving universe, a cosmos which is said to be guided by coherent patterns as compared to simple randomness. So there's a coherent pattern between things. There's a relationship, and that's actually in not a random way. It's in some kind of an order. And when we see universe, and even when we see the sun and the earth and all that, systems, there's an interconnection. Even people who are dealing with astrology, this is a Mercury retrograde period, for example, and we see the effects. And although some psychologists think that astrology is bullshit and you should just throw it in the trash, I don't believe so. But science, and especially psychology, is not yet going into that field of, researching these things. And that's why we are having all the criticisms from the schools, from the departments. And that doesn't mean that we can't research that. It's just we are not finding those methods yet. And I think science is a method. Science cannot tell us what to research. If science tells us what to research, it becomes an ideology. Science is a method, and we need to use the method to prove things that we believe in. And that includes spirituality and oneness and all other things. From a psychological perspective, earliest empirical definition of oneness goes back to Cialdini, Brown, Lewis, and Newberg's work on empathy and altruism relationships. And they define oneness more of an experience by stating that a sense of shared, merged, or interconnected personal identities that includes an act of perspective taking that accompanies attachment, and thus a symbolic merging or expansion of the self into the other. So there's a merging. And another definition has been related with, for example, relational, experiential, philosophical aspects. One actually book by Hay and Nye, which my friend last year talked about, relational consciousness, that also connotes the oneness inside, and that's actually Hay and Nye did this with children, and they have worked with children's spirituality, and there are lots of actual articles, because I know there is a journal called International Journal of Children's Spirituality, where you can see many research being done on children. And last year you were talking about this, so thank you, because that really inspired me to continue further with my research. So living in oneness can be depicted like this. where people share resources, where people help one another, where people help each other during crisis periods, and come to and then come into help others and communicate effectively and in a healthy relationship with others. So it comes from oneness inside. Humanities team. My research was carried out in an organization named Humanities Team, which I'm part of since 2004. That's about 9 years now. I've been in the management board, and I've been in the team coordinator jobs and different things. This is a not-for-profit organization, and it's implementing the idea that we are one with life, one with God in a global state of being. It's the idea of Humanities Team, and it's founded by Neil Donald Walsh, the author of Conversations with God series. And my research has been carried out with 447 individuals. And we asked one simple question: what does oneness mean to you? And what I did, I took 447 responses and put them into categories, which you will see in these handouts. And those are the sample categories. You won't see the whole answers because some are miscellaneous answers, which means they include all categories inside of one answer. And what Humanities Team does is they celebrate Global Oneness Day. It's the same day as the United Nations celebration, the day of October 24th, and they work on sacred activism projects. They do inner work and community support. They do organizations, events, and they do collaborate with umbrella organizations, which I will show you. These are the organizations they work with. So we can think about Humanities Team as the spiritual organization that tries to really shout out loud the word of oneness into the world. And that's why I did the research with these people in the organization, because they are the ones who are attracted to the organization because of the oneness idea. And you will see there are different definitions. I will read just maybe 1 or 2 sentences because I don't have much time, and I will show you the results. What percent of each category was mentioned in that survey? As a theological definition, they said, for example, oneness means to me that we are all part or extension of a whole. The vision analogy that was shown to me is that it's like a gold mine, with God's universal power being the mother lode where it all starts. And human beings are the veins running outwards and branching off from that main mass, all connected. The closer veins stronger, thicker, and the further ones being weaker, thinner, but all connected, all running back to the main, all part of the same whole. Another one, oneness with everything that is, my God, my higher self, the universe, collectively evolving to attain mastery, achieving the goals of loving unconditionally, fearing nothing and remembering the truth of oneness, that's all that is, the God within, namaste. Scientific definition: the realization and absolute knowing that we are all composed of the same physiological and metaphysical components that make up all of life, and that as such, every soul's word and action has an impact on life at some level, be it constructive or destructive. From the perspective of quantum mechanics, all the things of the universe are actually one thing, an infinite variety of vibrations all connected together, yet vibrating at an infinite number of frequencies. What used to be considered metaphysics is now beginning to be understood as simply physics when studied at the quantum level. The only reason we human beings do not perceive reality as demonstrated through quantum mechanics is due to the nature of the human ego, that aspect of our humanity that allows us to experience ourselves and others as separate. Relational definitions. There were many of them. Many people gave relational definitions, and that's why we have 45% of the definitions were relational, which means people, compared to theological, which is 15%, gave more of a relational aspect of oneness. And that's what actually John talked about. Listening to the other, understanding it, seeing it through, and knowing that, recognizing, respecting the sovereignty of the other, the beingness of the other person, as well as myself. So relational definitions are many. I will read just a couple. It's the way we are practice, by remembering this, we can be more aware and help and forgive one another. Forgiveness. The Mayan saying, you are another myself. Acceptance and love, no matter what. Acceptance and love. Focusing on similarities and common interests rather than differences and disagreements and separation. Oneness means that I lost the drive to create a fulfilling life just for myself. Oneness realized is just one side of totality. Living oneness is the next step for humanity. How much time do I have?
6 minutes.
Wonderful. Nothing is separate from anything, anyone. The illusion of separation doesn't get us to where we want to be as a people. We are one with all life, all people, even with our environmental situation. That the source of our consciousness is no different from mine. Self-related definitions: knowing who we all are, awareness, remembering our fullness, being aware, love in the greatest degree, integrating the oneness of all creation in my daily activities, choices, and consciousness. We are all created from love and for love. And political definitions: all nations under God, indivisible or unity love, true lasting world peace and compassion among its citizens. What was the percent? 4% was political. And miscellaneous means some answers included all of them, like political, relational, and self, all combined. So and those were 27%. What's remarkable here is the relational, as I said. And oneness means we are all part of this amazing fellowship called the human race. World citizenship in a global country. So this has a lot of political, I think, consequences for us. And for us, for humanity, and as I believe that we should not proselytize, but let us share our inspiration with people.
Like my whole life revolving around some guy. But loving someone and being loved means so much to me. I always make fun of it and stuff. But isn't everything we're doing in life going to be lost and unknown?
I don't know. Sometimes I dream about being a good father and a good husband. Sometimes it feels really close. But then other times, it seems silly, like it would ruin my whole life. And it's not just a fear of commitment or that I'm incapable of caring or loving, because I can. It's just that if I'm totally honest with myself, I think I'd rather die knowing that I was really good at something, and that I had excelled in some way, and then that I'd just been in a nice, caring relationship.
Yeah. I had worked for this older man, and once he told me that he had spent all of his life thinking about his career and his work, and he was 52 and he suddenly struck him that he had never really given anything of himself. His life was for no one and nothing. He was almost crying saying that. You know, I believe if there's any kind of God, it wouldn't be in any of us. Not you or me. But just this little space in between. If there's any kind of magic in this world, it must be in the attempt of understanding someone, sharing something. I know, it's almost impossible to succeed, but who cares, really? The answer must be in the attempt.
Because I'm a psychologist, I believe it's the way to do these things. And I think we have the power, we have enough resources. We have all we need. We just need to know how to share and how to know and how to acknowledge all these things with each other. So I thank you so much.